Hi everyone, welcome to another Instagram Live city tour. Today we are going to one of my most favourite places in all of Italy. That's right, we are going to magical Venice. We're going to be toured around today by Valeria Necchio. I can see she's just joined, so I'm going to add her in. Valeria is a local, she lives in Venice, but she grew up in the countryside, and I'll get her to tell you more about that once we start. She is a food and travel writer, and she's the author of the 2017 cookbook and memoir Veneto, which is a beautiful book that celebrates her home, the Veneto region. So I'm going to add her in now. Okay, bear with me. Hi to everyone joining. Okay. Invite. And we can get started. Ciao, everyone. If you have any questions along the way, ciao Valeria.
Ciao, good morning, buongiorno.
Nice to see you in beautiful Venice.
Yes, it's gorgeous this morning. We actually have a little bit of acqua alta, not too much, but a little. So there's some points in which it might get a little wet, but hopefully we'll get through.
Only in Venice, hey?
Exactly. You wake up and you have that kind of surprise, and you're like, "Oops, wrong footwear," and then you go back. But yeah, no, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. We're having the most wonderful weather today, so
good.
Very clear.
Yeah, I was introducing you a little bit, but would you like to introduce yourself for people who might not know you already?
Well, yeah, sure. I'm terrible at introducing myself, but yeah, no, sure. Let's do that. So, I am a food and travel writer mostly, and photographer. With photography, sort of like complementing the stories most of the time. I write a lot about the food and culture of my region of origin, which is Veneto. I grew up in the countryside outside of Venice, and I just moved to the city this year, post-pandemic, to work and live, and it's been a really happy return for sure. I now work mostly in the food and wine industry, and keep writing about this beautiful city, its food, its traditions. It's a real blessing.
Yeah, amazing. What a place to call home. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
today you're going to be touring us around Cannaregio, is that right?
That's correct. Yes, I'm already walking towards the heart of the Sestriere, which is the Venetian word for neighborhood. And Cannaregio is the one that I call home, and also the Sestriere, where I find there are a lot of really interesting shops, wine bars. It's very buzzy, very lively, and also very residential at the same time. So yeah, we're walking towards there, slowly but surely, trying to avoid all of the little puddles. I might try to turn the camera just a little so that I can show you. Okay, let's do that.
Beautiful. Yay.
Okay, so there you go. And we do have a little bit of remaining of Aqua Alta. I can show you it's the livery. It's still a little high. See, it basically reaches the steps. So yeah. They were laughing at me framing the Aqua Alta. I feel like they find it always really bizarre that people find it utterly fascinating. But yeah.
It is so fascinating. Have you, for people who maybe don't know what Aqua Alta is, obviously it's when the level of the water rises, but can you explain, like, when would you expect it in winter that this happens only? Is that right?
Yeah, you would expect it mostly at this time of the year. Oh, look, this is very self-explanatory. Look, there you go.
Perfect. wondering what we're talking about. Excellent.
Fun. We'll avoid that. Yeah, it happens mostly at this time of the year, November, December. You would have some of that in the summer as well. It really depends on a variety of factors. But the moment you start having, let's say, acqua alta, you would have a few days in which the tide is repeatedly high, and then it'll go down, and you'll have some days in which it isn't. Now we have another really really cute frame. There you go.
Oh, beautiful. Oh,
Really
isn't it
beautiful. That, yeah, La
lovely?
Misericordia is over there. It's so sweet.
It looks very quiet today, Valeria. I know it's still early, but it looks very quiet and peaceful.
Yeah, so this is a very quiet time of the year for Venice in general, even though it's a weekend. Well, yeah, it's early, and it's a bit of a peripheral part of the city, but in general, we see that things start to slow down quite a bit, like in December, January, and then they pick up again during Carnival, which begins to be again high season in the city around February.
Amazing, amazing. I think the internet's a little bit funny down this street. Oh, we've got you back.
Okay.
We've got
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just stay on until you're back. Perhaps while you're walking, Valeria, do you want to speak a little bit about what Venice itself means to you? So obviously you didn't grow up in Venice, but you live there now, and it's a hard question, but what are some of the things that you love about Venice? I know that there's the things that you can talk about.
Yeah, I mean, not having grown up here, I feel like I haven't yet developed a blasé view of the city. And in fact, I'm like in that super honeymoon phase in which I love everything. And I find it a constant distraction. So I walk around and like I lift my head, and you just are surrounded by so much beauty. It's impossible not to love it. It's like the beauty of it. It's never ending, and every corner you're surprised by something that catches your eye. I stopped here because then there's a sottoportico. I'm gonna turn around. There you go. And this might be a bit funny for connection, but then we'll come out the other side and we'll be in the heart of Cannaregio. Okay, let's do that. Okay.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Oops. Okay.
Here we go. It goes.
And I would choose it over and over again. It's a very complicated city to live in for a variety of reasons that we might get to discuss. But at the same time, it's just so beautiful. It's absolutely heartbreaking. Like, for example, now I smart work a lot. So I work from home. You might have a hard work day or something like that, and then you'll just go out for a walk and you're reminded of where you are, and it's very uplifting for sure. And also I feel like it's a city that desperately needs people that live here, and that sort of like give a little bit of a more like a residential vibe to it. And so it's part of that as well. But like, if you would ask me, I don't know, like last year I had no idea that I wanted to live here, and now I wouldn't live anywhere else. It's like, as I said, it's like the honeymoon phase for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think have you noticed a change, I guess, since you've come back to Venice during COVID times, obviously, compared to when you've been in Venice before? Have you noticed that there's obviously there's a lot less tourists, but have you noticed any other changes? Have you seen more locals around as well?
Well, it was very evident during the third lockdown, which I experienced living here. It wasn't as strict as the very first one, but it's still like it was mostly residents at that point being around the city. You could see that there's very few of us. I mean, it was lovely to have the city back in a way for a little while.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic to just like hear Venetian being spoken in the street, you know. Kids just like playing soccer in the campi that otherwise would be overrun with people. It felt like a real city, like a place where you people live, you know. But at the same time, it revealed its deep fragility, like how fragile it is. Lots of buildings with like shutters being closed, you know, lots of like a non-lived place. And so I feel like it really enhanced that factor, and with it, like a desire to do something about it. Um, and I mean, we've seen this year around July and August that it's very easy for tourism to just really pick back up from where it left, you know, unless you do something about it. And August was really busy. It was like pre-pandemic crowds. So, you know, like there's that hope that this is a time of reflection, a time to really consider the choices that have been made. But at the same time, you're like, okay, we'll just need to we need to stop hoping and actually do something. So that's, I think, what's happening a lot right now. There's a lot of momentum in that sense.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's really great. Something that is related to that I wanted to ask you, and then we'll, have a look at Venice as well, is one of my followers is asking, what is it like to live in a place that is
So touristy and overrun with tourists. So I guess, I mean, you've only just moved back, but as you said, in August, there was a lot of tourists. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to sort of live there with this influx of tourists?
It's bizarre. I mean, it's great in a way because it makes you think that it's a place that everybody wants to see, you know, and it's very flattering. And at the same time, like, I don't know, I mentioned there's like a problem of residentiality, like housing for locals, for example, like a really really big issue in that sense. So this is the drawback of having to live in a place that caters mostly to tourists. I mean, of course, crowds, but you know, like Venice still has this thing that you'll forever be able to avoid the massive crowds if you want to. It's so maze-like that there will be some places where you'll still be by yourself, and then in the evening there's that aspect of it as well. Like in the evening, it just goes so quiet, and no matter whether it's high season or August, and during the day, like the streets are super crowded. In the evening, like you'll find yourself just walking alone, and like you just only hear the sound of your steps, and it's absolutely great. So yeah, I mean, there are a few drawbacks to being this beautiful place that everybody wants to see. But not unsolvable. I think that there can be a place for cohabitation between like the locals and the visitors. And obviously Venice needs people that come and see it and love it. Otherwise it wouldn't survive. So
totally. Great insight. Yeah, that's awesome. So where are we walking now, Valeria?
Okay, so we're walking along the Fondamenta. So this is a beautiful Cannaregio again. This is a very buzzy part of town, the one that I was mentioning you. It's called Fondamenta della Misericordia. And it's the one where you'd find lovely wine bars. We're just stumbling upon one just now. It's called Vino Vero. It was like the very first, I believe it was one of the first natural wine bars in town. Certainly, like throwing out there the trend for these types of low intervention wines. Here it is. Still closed now, but it will open later in the day and stay open late-ish at night.
I tried to go there when I was in Venice in May, but as expected, it was very busy. It was a long wait for a table,
Yeah,
but I definitely need
there you go.
to go next time to Venice.
So this is a lovely local deli called Marameo, and they have delicious breads and also wines and biscuits. It's really lovely. And I don't know, it's like just so gorgeous to walk along here on a Saturday morning. And there's like a lovely place to have breakfast called Sulla Luna. It's both like a breakfast place and also it's this one with the white umbrellas. It's both like a breakfast brunch place and also a kids bookshop. So it's lovely. Yes. Yeah, it's really, really nice. And then along here, you'll have a few more restaurants that are really nice. This is a part of town that stays open a little later at night because most things in Venice close around midnight-ish, 11 midnight. And here you would have a little bit more of a nightlife. Oh, here it is. It's like breakfasty and bookshop. It's really sweet.
It's gorgeous. It's super cute. Is this where along here there's also El Timon or Timon?
Yeah, there is a little further down. Exactly. So, yeah, it's a perfect hangout for spritzes and little nibbles. And yeah, they would have a boat moored just in front of the bar where you can go and hang out with your drink and your food. And yeah, in the summer, it's absolutely perfect. Even because this is this gets a beautiful sunset, this whole long road. And so, yeah, it's perfectly enjoyable in the warm months, like sundown. Yeah, it's great. Absolutely great.
And do you like coming here for mainly aperitivo, or you'd also come here for dinner as well? Or even after dinner?
I would do definitely aperitivo, a few places for dinner. I'll turn this around. Okay, so a few places for dinner. My favorite here is called Rioba. They are absolutely great. It's a fantastic restaurant. For aperitivo, I like Vino Vero for sure, and then Al Timon that you mentioned. For breakfast, there's Sulla Luna, and then further down this street, there's a coffee roaster. They're called Cannaregio. They do great coffees and lovely, like Danish pastries and things like that. Really, really lovely, especially on a Saturday morning. Very buzzy. And so yeah, no, I mean you have a little bit of everything here. It's fantastic. There's like there's a little fruit and veg. There's this like store that has a little bit of everything. These are the kinds of stores that if you really dig deep, you can probably build a house out of what they sell. You know, so yeah.
Gorgeous, so gorgeous. So at the moment, so obviously we're going into winter. What are some typical dishes in the wintertime that you can expect to find in Venice, or ones that you love?
I absolutely love, okay, so it's mostly seafood, obviously. It's really seafood heavy. There are a lot of restaurants now that are trying to reduce the amount of fish that is served, just because the overfishing in the lagoon is like a really big issue. But it's coming, like the season of wild duck and wild duck ragout are coming in. Wild duck would be something that you could find in the islands of the northern lagoon. So you would make a lovely rich ragout out of it, which is perfect for the cold weather. We've just had the Festa della Madonna della Salute on the 21st of November, if I recall correctly, yeah. And so the traditional dish for that would be castradina, which is a very warming thing with based on like mutton meat and cabbage in broth, and it's very cozy, delicious. What else? Well, we're moving towards Christmas, and so all of the rich foods that are related to the festivities will be around. But definitely, I would say this time of the year, I really, really love a nice tagliatelle with duck ragout. That would be, Yeah, delicious. I mean, Or there's a place, but not in this neighborhood. It would be a little closer to the train station. It's called La Zucca. Lovely restaurant. They have amazing vegetarian dishes and dishes made with seasonal vegetables from the islands. And their signature dish is pumpkin flan with pecorino and it's like also grated ricotta and pumpkin seeds, and that's also heavenly. And with some beer, it's really delicious.
Yum, it sounds so delicious. Wow. But speaking of restaurants and food, I wanted to ask you about, so you're part of the Venice project. I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you about, I've not been there yet, I really want to be there, but I wanted to ask you a little bit about it, where it is, just people who don't know, etc., etc. You can talk a little bit about it.
Absolutely. So it's an agriculture, viticulture project and sustainable hospitality project as well on the island of Mazzorbo, which is in the northern lagoon, close to Burano, which is a little bit more famous. So Mazzorbo would be connected to Burano by a wooden bridge, so it's very close by. You can visit both at the same time, it's a project that started with the rediscovery of a local grape variety from the lagoon that disappeared with the very destructive high tide of 1966. They rediscovered a few plants and decided to reproduce them and replant them. So now there's 4,000 within the estate, and we produce a little wine that is quite a nectar. It's delicious, if I say so myself. Quite unique, let's say that. It's very unique and very typical of the lagoon. And then alongside that, there's a small hospitality project, so a few rooms to really enjoy and experience the lagoon. And everything that rotates around it, traditions, cultures, arts and crafts. There's a variety of experiences that you can do to discover that. And then there's a restaurant that is very leaning towards sustainability and vegetable centered. And in fact, this year, we're really happy that it got the Michelin star, the green star from the Michelin Guide, which really just like stresses the fact that there has been a lot of work done around reducing the impact of what's served and etc. So it's a very complex project, but very exciting with a lot of things happening. It's a nice place to really experience the lagoon, and Venice is lagoon, and the lagoon is Venice. It's like an interconnected type of experience. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I definitely want to visit. It sounds incredible. Absolutely.
It's beautiful. I'm gonna show you this little fruit and veg here because it's great, and I can show you some seasonal things that are coming from. So there's puntarelle, and then all of the little bietoline, radicchio. This is for salad, and that would be for cooking, the tardivo, so the fourth one. And a few little broccolini, but yeah, no, this is like a fantastic little.
Delicious. I love the
Not bad.
puntarelle. How do you do it in Venice? Because I've had it in Rome with the anchovy sauce. Is it the same in Venice? You would
very similar. Or they are chopped up and mixed. Well, not really the heart of the puntarelle, but mostly like the outer leaves. They are chopped up and mixed with Swiss chard and other things, and like sautéed with pine nuts and raisins, which is like the combo that Venetians really like. They put it a little bit everywhere on the sardines and inside the greens. So yeah, that's another way to enjoy them.
Amazing. Oh, that sounds delicious.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about that.
I know. Definitely.
So would you say that visiting Cannaregio and Venice at this time of year, it's a good opportunity to sort of escape the crowds as well? It doesn't, I mean, it looks like there's a few people around, but it's definitely different to summertime.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you see that there's definitely a few visitors, but also lots of locals just hanging out, doing their shopping. And it's definitely quieter than the warmer months. So this is a truly fantastic time of the year to visit. You would have the city to yourself. Like you would find spots in restaurants that are nice. I mean, it's no, and if you catch a beautiful day like this one, like super sunny, you would get to enjoy it so much more. Because yeah, it's just a slower pace. It's definitely more
Yeah.
pleasant. And I always encourage people to not come in the summer because it's awful. And then I go home and they're like, oh, I hated it. It's so crowded. It's so hot and so sticky. Well, yeah, well, yes, it is. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
Definitely nice to visit this time of year for sure, for a bit of a more local feel. Something, I mean, we've spoken a little bit about this, but something I think that's important to ask you is visitors who are coming to Venice, like, how can we visit responsibly? Because obviously there are a lot of problems, as you know, spoken about with, for example, cruise ships, housing,
yeah.
rubbish. I mean, there's a lot of issues, but do you have any tips for how tourists can visit Venice in a responsible way?
hmm I would say try to spend a few days here and get to know the place, eat at local
Yeah.
places, do a little research because like the moment you're here, it becomes really overwhelming. You get hungry, you don't know where you are, and you just stop and like at the first place. But maybe with a little bit of research done beforehand, you can really find the gems, and then you can stick to those, and that would mean supporting people and businesses that are doing great things for the city. And that would mean a ton, as opposed to, as I said, like just like stumbling upon the first place and like, I don't know, picking up the small souvenir that you wouldn't really know where it comes from. That would, I think, really, really help. And also, you would have a better experience of the city yourself. And so that's the tip that I always give to people. Like, I don't know, like find platforms that give you information about the local artisans. That would make you like that will make you enjoy the city so much more. And you'll have like a, I don't know, even like a memory of it that would last. Because like great meals and like a great little arts and crafts will make such a huge difference for
Yeah.
the experience of the city as well.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's really important. And when you're in Venice, I mean, you don't want to leave after just one day. You have to stay at least, even after 3 days. Like you need, I mean, you could stay there for a lifetime, I think, and not have
Yeah.
discovered it all. As you said, it's like a little maze and lots of hidden corners and nooks and crannies. There's a lot to see. One thing I wanted to
Exactly.
ask is, now that you've lived there for a while, do you still get lost, or no, you've mastered the maze?
After living here for a while, I've realized that most road, I mean, if you're headed towards a direction, even though it looks like you're not doing the path that you would normally do, you would get there.
Yeah.
You will get there eventually. Like there's no really getting lost. I mean, it will take you longer, maybe, but you would get
Sure.
there eventually.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah,
So,
perfect. Oh, well, it's been beautiful walking with you through Cannaregio. Did you want to show us anything else or?
yeah. Okay. So let's. I wanted to show you this little shop here, that where you can, you know, like get some bits and bobs for your house. Like it's like a
Yeah.
ferramenta, and I don't know. Inside they would have now. It looks like it's closed, but inside they would have lots of vintage little bits and bobs to redo your house. That is, I find these little shops super, super charming. And here is the Torretazione Cannaregio. We got here eventually. So they have a few tables outside to hang out and a few benches and just like to peek inside. I am unmasked, but you would have like your selection of coffees, and then you can enjoy it here or take home. So this is definitely the hot spot for coffee lovers
Delicious.
in town. Hmm
Yeah, so good. One to add to the list for sure. Oh, amazing. Well, it's such a beautiful part of Venice. I really love Cannaregio. Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's and as I said, like it's very residential, so you would have a little bit of everything, and it has a great vibe. Few
Oh,
more views.
heaven. It is absolutely heaven.
This is the bridge that then will take you to the ghetto.
Yeah.
And so you would get a little bit more towards the downtown.
Mm.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of road work going on at this time of the year because it's less crowded. But I mean, it makes it a little less pretty, but that's okay. We need
Still
that too. We need that
beautiful.
too. Yeah,
Oh, amazing. It's been so lovely chatting to you. Yeah, lots of people are saying so beautiful that they miss Venezia. I think it's somewhere that you could go back again and again and again. It's just
exactly.
absolutely lovely. If people
Yeah.
want to stay in touch with you, Valeria, how can they do that?
To stay in touch. Sorry, I missed that. Yeah. They can. I mean, it'd be great to stay in touch through Instagram.
Yeah.
And on my profile, you would also find a link to my website where I share. Where you'll find a few stories, a few articles about the city. I'm working on a new city guide actually. So yeah, after
Okay.
living here, I had one, but now I'm revisiting it and like updating it quite a bit. Also because like post COVID, few things have changed. So stay tuned for that. If you're returning to Venice, that will be published soon. And yeah,
Awesome. That sounds great. Well, Valeria, thank you so much. I hope next time in Venice, maybe we can catch up for a prosecco or some cipolliti together.
that would
Um,
be perfect.
yeah, thank you. And everyone, you can follow Valeria on Instagram at Valeria Necchio, which is your name. So you can find
Hmm.
her there, and her website is the same, and it's on her Instagram too. So thank
Exactly.
you.
Thank you. That was great.
Grazie mille. I'll save this on my profile so anyone who wants to go back and watch can do it. Thanks,
Perfect.
Valeria.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Ciao.
Thanks,
Have a
everyone.
lovely weekend. Ciao.
You too. Ciao. Ciao a tutti.